Okay, I have finally turned 50. I'm actually so glad because I got really sick of saying I was almost 50. Now I'm 50 and I am fully in menopause after my oophorectomy, so surgery to remove my ovaries. I am trying to get my health back and move on and hopefully be healthier than I was before, feel better than I did before, and continue to make improvements to my skin, or at the very least, hold back the hands of time as best as I can. So today I just wanted to give you sort of an update on where I'm at with my HRT, post-menopause, and go over all of the latest things that I have been doing as a way of taking care of myself. And hopefully this will be the whole second half of my life. I would love to live to 100. I don't expect that, but I'm going to do my darndest. So here's all the things that I'm doing right now: skincare, devices, nutrition, supplements, all the things that I am doing right now to try and live my best life as a now 50-year-old woman. Let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start by talking about my hormones. After an oophorectomy, you lose pretty much almost all of your hormones. There's a few things that your body is still able to make, but not in big enough amounts that you're going to feel like very good at all. So I found that for whatever reason, right after my surgery, my body did not want to uptake the HRT, the patches, the creams. It just would not soak in the estradiol that I was trying to replace. It took months, and then suddenly there was too much. I don't know why that happened, but I have talked to a few other people who have gone through the same thing, where you very rapidly go into menopause all at once by losing your ovaries, and they had similar reactions where they really, really struggled to actually get the relief that they needed from the HRT at first. It was the same for me. So we confirmed all of this with blood work. I was constantly doing blood work. I was on high patches. I was on double the amount that you normally would. I would try different brands. I kind of tried everything. I tried oral estrogen, the little pills. I tried compounded creams, all of those together. My blood work was not getting above maybe 20 as far as the level of estradiol in my blood. And I was having hot flashes. I was having severe depression. I was having trouble sleeping. Very, very painful. My joints hurt really, really bad. I felt like I was 80 years old just moving around. Forget the exercise that I needed to be doing to try and rehabilitate myself, because I had been, for the last 2 years, really fighting a bad bout of endometriosis. So it had really gotten to a point where it had spread to all of my female organs. Pretty much everything needed to be removed. I had severe adenomyosis, which is where the lining of your uterus is just like, the walls are just solid endometriosis. They're very thick, they're very painful. I was in pain and I just stopped moving because I was doubled over in pain 2 to 3 weeks out of every month, and that was no way to live. We hoped that just by getting rid of the uterus that would give me some relief. As soon as my ovaries started back up again after that surgery, I was right back where I started. The ovaries were really painful. They were causing me all like really high spikes in estrogen and then lows. It was like perimenopause on steroids. It was really awful. I started having anxiety attacks, and I was completely out of control. I was absolutely miserable. And the only thing that we could do to help was to give me something called Slind, which is a progestin only birth control pill that really suppressed my estrogen. That did help. It really stopped the pain. The problem is, with any of these drugs that you use to suppress your estrogen, you start having menopause, like severe menopause type of symptoms. And that's what happened to me. So we would try to give me a little bit of estradiol through patches and creams and gels, and just like the littlest amount to try and make up for that. Unfortunately, my ovaries were so riddled with the endometriosis, and I had other lesions that had recurred and grown back kind of in the same spots. I was in a really tough spot because I either had severe menopausal sort of symptoms that were not real livable, or I had severe endometriosis type symptoms that were also not livable. So we made the hard decision last April to go ahead and take the ovaries and clean up anything that had regrown, hoping that just starting HRT after that was going to really solve all my problems. Unfortunately, my body just didn't really take to the HRT at first, even though it had reacted to it before as adding extra estrogen. It just was this very long, sort of awful period of waiting for my body to catch up. Now, one of the weird things that has happened, and this is where I'm at right now, I started taking gel testosterone, and I started with the female dose, which is 1/10 of what the male dose is, and it comes in these little tubes, and you just measure it into a syringe, and then you put a little bit of gel, a certain amount, onto your wrist every day. Didn't notice much difference at first. After about a month and a half of using it, I started to notice that I was not able to tolerate my patches anymore. The patches were starting to cause me like really high estrogen symptoms, very, very sore boobs. My endometriosis, feeling like down in my lower abdomen, started to become very inflamed again. And then I just generally was feeling more anxious, was having trouble sleeping because too low of estradiol and too high of estradiol will both cause me anxiety and the inability to sleep. For me, and I think for most people, you really have to find the exact right level. What happened is that, confirmed with blood work, my testosterone levels had gotten all the way up to 175. Most males my age are around 300. I wasn't having any of the expected bad side effects, like I wasn't angry. I was breaking out just a little bit, but I actually found that the estradiol was breaking, the higher estradiol was the thing breaking me out more, because when I stopped that, it went away. I was sleeping fine. I was starting to build muscle. I was feeling really good on that high dose of testosterone. But what had happened was, we assume, is that I could no longer add any more estrogen in because somehow I had high estrogen, and it's what is called aromatization. So the excess testosterone, because that is an excessive amount for a female, was turning into estrogen. And that is still happening. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm taking just the smallest amount of the testosterone because it really makes me feel better. It really helps me be able to work out without pain. In general, it is not something I want to give up, but I do need to, for safety's sake, bring it down to a high amount. I'm aiming for around 70. I haven't lowered it for long enough that it's time for me to check my blood work yet, because it will kind of hang around for a while. So we will check again here pretty soon. But I am finding that I still don't need to put any extra estradiol in except for down south, because that area is very sensitive to not having enough estrogen. So I think I actually feel better with a little bit lower estrogen in my system. Just generally speaking, I'm less inflamed. I know that's not what they say it's supposed to do, but high levels for me with endometriosis and having that sort of autoimmune dysfunction, it does do that to me. So we have to keep it low normal, right? And so as that is coming down, I feel a lot better. I'm doing in general a lot better. My skin is doing a lot better. I'm not breaking out anymore. It is getting a little dry. So we're going to have to find sort of that medium range for me. If you have struggled with this yourself, let me know. I'm more than willing to sort of talk it out, and we can discuss what did and didn't work for me, through messages. What I can tell you is that it is this long sort of fussy phase where something's too high, something's too low, and it's really a lot of trial and error. I even tried the little ring. Well, it's actually a huge honkin' ring that you're supposed to put in down there, and it just hangs out for 3 months. really expensive. I can't believe that thing is like $1,000. I couldn't even tolerate having it in for, 24 hours, and it was too strong, and it was just that was an absolute no for me. So I think I have tried everything as far as trying to get my levels correct and trying to get it into my body with estrogen. And right now, we're down to just letting the testosterone convert to estrogen, and that seems to be working pretty well. I think eventually my testosterone will get low enough that I will have to go back onto, I think I'm going to do creams, because my compounded creams, it's called Biest because it's got both estradiol and estriol. I think that's probably going to be my route in the future, but I may go back to patches. We'll have to see. They have not really worked out for me in the long run. So that's where I'm at. All of this has a lot to do with how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, and how I am going to go forward. And a lot of it is showing in my skin. And so I do want to go ahead and tell you all the things that I am doing with my skin and also the supplements I'm taking that are helping me get through the tough part of trying to get my HRT right. Okay, so I know that was a long thing on hormones. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but it is important to note that those hormones that I'm adding have a huge effect on how I look and how I feel, how I sleep, and my longevity and my health going forward. So, really can't have this discussion about healthy living, what I'm doing, and what's working and what's not without addressing the elephant in the room, which is the HRT first. Also, I forgot to mention, I have been taking it for years. I am taking 200 milligrams of prometrium, which is just a progesterone. I take that as a pill. I take the brand name because I found that the generic really sort of had the opposite effect for me. And I know a lot of people said, oh, I can't tolerate progesterone. Have you tried anything besides the generic? Because the generic did not work for me. It had bad side effects. It was really bad. Prometrium, the actual brand name, works fantastic. I take it daily at night. It helps me sleep. It helps me overall feel better, less ragey, and it's been sort of my favorite hormone to take for years. I started taking it in cream form and then some pills that were made for me by my compounding pharmacy for years. That's another option, is sometimes the compounding pharmacies, they don't have the crappy fillers that are in the generic ones that the insurance companies unfortunately cover only, and they can treat you a lot better. It has been wonderful for me. It has really helped with a lot of my mood issues that I had starting in my early, like actually 20s and 30s. And I started taking it at 31, and it made all the difference. You take it the last half of your cycle, so days 14 to 28 during the luteal phase. Otherwise, if you took it beforehand, you might not ovulate, and they want you to be ovulating. I don't, it's up to you, really, and your doctor. But like, I had severe PMDD during that time, and just taking at that time only 100 milligrams of progesterone cream at that time, and then I switched to pills, really made all the difference. So that is something that if you are starting to go through perimenopause and you need some help because your levels are all over the place and it's really causing mood disturbances, that is something that helped me so much. So much. Out of everything I did, the progesterone was something that was so key to me feeling like myself again. Okay. So let's start with the first thing that I have done throughout this whole process that has really made a huge difference in how my skin looks. It just seems to really plump up my skin. It makes it just a little firmer, a little tighter. It just feels really good on your face because of the heat. I'm talking about red light therapy. Now, I've done red light therapy for several years now, and when I very first got started, I started with the Omnilux mask. I got great results from that right away. I went with Omnilux because They were the original people who brought it to market, who were the ones who were making the in-office ones. And so I figured that they probably had the most research. I figured they probably had the best actual working mask on the market. It's not going to be as strong as what you get when you go in office, but it was basically the one that I sort of trusted the most. So I started with that one, and I did notice results pretty quickly within a few weeks. Just general clarity of skin. It sort of plumped up, tightened up, just generally sort of like felt like my skin was not sagging and sort of sallow looking. It was sort of like filled in and a little bit like healthier, like there was more blood flow. I was hooked. I was like, okay, so this red light therapy, it does work. It's subtle, but it's enough, especially cumulatively, that I still do it every day, and it's been a few years now. So definitely worth just doing red light therapy. Now, I used that Omnilux mask. I used a Mesama mask, and I got one other mask. I have barely used it, so I don't remember the name. I'll put it up. I noticed just this last summer that I wasn't really feeling like I was getting the same result. I'd really fallen back on using mostly just the Omnilux mask because I felt like it was working the best. I felt like I could actually see results from it the most. But it did seem like I wasn't getting the results that I was at first. And I don't know, but I do wonder if these masks sort of have limited lifetime so that they eventually maybe don't work quite as well as they used to. I suspect that that is the case. So I've had a whole bunch of different companies that have been approaching me, asking me to go ahead and try their mask and to tell you guys about it. So I have been kind of like, no, whatever. And then I was like, well, my current mask is not really doing it for me anymore. So I'm going to start looking into all of these different companies. And so I did. And so I landed on Inia. This company was offering a mask that really was something a little bit different and a little bit better than all of the other things that I saw on the market. So it was offering a completely wireless, which I hadn't seen before. And I was like, that's interesting. That's nice. It was offering the mix of both blue light for acne, which I was having trouble with, and also the red light and the near infrared red light. So it was going to offer the strongest amount of treatment and light that I could get in one mask. And it was kind of all together. And I was like, yeah, okay, so we're getting better. And then I looked at the price. They are like a quarter of the price of some of the older masks. And so I was like, well, good. They're getting so that the technology is easier to make a little bit more affordable for people. So I can get behind that. And so I decided to go ahead and give Inia a try. And I do have other companies who would like to send me PR, but right now, so happy with Inia that that's what I'm using right now. Now, I may try some other ones and I will let you know, but I have to say, I am blown away with the results that I got. The minute I got the new mask and got it all working and everything, I noticed a huge difference. Like, it was a lot warmer than the other ones. So immediately I kind of like, I flushed, I got red, and it felt like it was doing more. And so I was like, huh, that's interesting. I don't know, is that good or is that bad? I gave it a week and I saw an immediate difference. Like my face after I would get done looked creamy and like just, I was amazed. So kind of blown away, honestly, because the other masks I had tried, it had been more of a slow progression, but I did notice that they were making an improvement. This one I noticed sort of like immediate improvement. So let me show you how I use it every day. So here's the mask. One of the reasons I was super interested in this is because it is actually a wireless one, and they do have a wired one. That was their original one. This is the wireless one, and I love how freeing it is. You can walk around with something like this. So you just open this up. It did come with eye guards. I actually took them off because I found them a little bit uncomfortable. And I do find that in order for this to fit best, it helps to put a little low ponytail here or bun, and then you just sort of tighten your little thing right on top of it. Okay, now that I look like a serial killer, let me show you how this works. Okay, so we've got this. They've got 4 different modes. You click it in, and then you just tap. So the blue is for acne, and I forget what the orange is for. I will put it up, and this is the one I like it. The purple is a mix of the blue and the red, and I have it on the NIR, the near infrared, so strongest everything. So this is the strongest everything. This is what we want. The one thing that this doesn't have is a timer. So that's fine with me. I just set a timer on my phone, or I just sit in front of my computer and I let this go. I know, it's weird to have a conversation like this. When you're done, you just pull this off. It turns off the mask and then you take it off. I find this very, very comfortable. I actually am able to move around and do more things. If you put the eye inserts in, which I'm sorry I don't have them right this second, it blocks this. If you've worn masks at all like this, one of the things is that the light makes it a little hard to do other things because it's just bright enough that everything else is hard to see very well. I do not have the patience to sit with a mask on and just like close my eyes and be quiet for 10 minutes. So I like to be able to do other things. I will say that like if you find that the little eye inserts are comfortable, you can see your computer a lot better with those on because it blocks that light from your eyes. I don't think that this kind of light is not strong enough to be hurting your eyes. It overall, most of the studies say that it's safe for your eyes, so I'm not worried about that. It's just a convenience thing. It's been 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and take this off. First, I'm going to go like that. Pull that off, and as you can see, I'm a little bit dewy and sweaty because it's a nice warming mask. It always leaves a little bit right here. That's fine, it'll go away. Immediately after, when I take this off, I feel like the quality of my skin is a little bit better. It feels plumper. It feels warmed up. Now, some of that is just bringing the blood flow, to my skin. Nothing wrong with that. I have found that just using the red light therapy, even if it's not changing the texture of your skin that much, which I do think it actually is a little bit, but I find that just increasing the blood flow to all of these tissues and doing it regularly every day really makes a difference in how you look and how it feels and how healthy that skin is. These don't have the longest life. It comes with 2 of these so that you can swap them out. I would say I can get 2 or 3 days out of one charge, but I have a little charger for all my red light stuff. It's just a little plug that's underneath my computer. I just go ahead and plug it in every couple days so that it's always ready. So far I've had no issues with it. It stays charged. It's plenty for daily use, and it's just super easy to use. Even better, working with the person who has been sending me the PR, they are quick, reliable, so nice. And when they heard it was my birthday and that I was interested in the neck part, they went ahead and gifted me the whole neck one and said happy birthday. How awesome are they? I've really just started with this one, probably maybe 2-3 weeks. So I haven't noticed a huge change yet. It takes a while. I didn't have a good working neck one before, so I think I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer for results on this. But ease of use, comfort, really, really good. So let me show you how I put it on. Just put it like this. I'm making sure that I'm getting as much contact as I can here. I find that I don't need to charge this all that often because it is one that is actually wired, unlike the face mask. So this has 4 different settings. You can put on the near infrared, which is what I always do. I want to do maximum amount. Hit the power button right there, and it just starts out with 10 minutes. You can do longer. I find 10 minutes daily is fine. So it automatically goes on. I'm going to go ahead and press the button for near infrared, And then I'm going to press this button over here. The timer's already going, and I am going to do red high. Again, I want the maximum amount of treatment that I can get because I'm hoping for the maximum results. All of these results are going to be subtle, but if you just keep doing them, it all sort of adds up. You do everything together, and then you end up with sort of halting the rapid aging that happens after menopause. And I'm a pretty good example of this. It really, for me, had everything to do, and I think this is for a lot of people, had everything to do with the rapid loss of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, but mostly estrogen. And that's really what keeps that, plump face and plump skin. It's what keeps you from having vaginal atrophy. It really, really affects the skin. So these are all the things you can do to help up that collagen and kind of keep those effects at a minimum. This is a picture of me when I was 40. I didn't know that my hormones were going down rapidly. This was after I had my very last baby at 38. The difference in my skin was shocking. And that's when I decided I needed to do something. My first go-to was fillers because I had lost so much volume, but ultimately that really wasn't the answer because I had some good results and then I had some really bad results. My body really reacted to a lot of that. I am sure that I still have some filler left in my face, but I mean, it's been 10 years, most of it is gone, and I still now, because of all the things I've been doing, have not perfect skin, obviously, but I have a lot more volume than I did 10 years ago. So I know that these things are subtle and long, but this is really the way that you stay out of a place where you feel like you might want to consider surgery. Like even I still am like, oh, I don't know, especially down here, things are really starting to sag, especially with that instant menopause. I do think, well, I was going to say no to surgery, but maybe because this is pretty bad. I don't want to have surgery, but you get used to yourself looking a certain way. And I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes the difference when your skin goes through menopause so rapidly is so shocking that it does make you you feel like that's not you. I don't know who that old lady is in the mirror. And so you start thinking things like that. Is how I stay away from hopefully those thoughts. I don't mind aging. I would just like to do it gracefully, not drastically, all in a few months. Okay. I can't recommend them enough if you are interested in getting into the red light therapy. I think this is a really good company to go with, and I am shocked at how quickly I really saw a difference in my skin. So, highly recommend Inia. I have tried a lot of estradiol creams and for my face and serums, and this is just the best. They are sort of expensive, but you get 3 months supply. So if you break down the 150 over 3 months, it's more like $50 a month. That's still a lot. However, I will say I'm really, really pleased with both the results and how this feels on your skin. The big problem that I've had with other different companies that I have tried is that they feel terrible on your skin. They smell funny, like really, really bad. Not something you want to sleep in because they stink so bad. Definitely not something you could wear underneath makeup. The serums that you can get sort of like naturopathically are so sticky and just, again, you're going to bed with an incredibly sticky face. You don't want to put it on. And anything like that when it comes to skincare, you're just eventually going to stop doing it. And the only way that these kind of things work is if you do them regularly. That's where Alloy really and I'm not, I would love to be sponsored by them because I spend a lot of money with them, but I'm not. I have just used them for years and I've settled on them because all of their skincare have been made so that they are cosmetically really nice to put on your face. They just expanded their M4 Estriol line to include a serum, which has peptides in it and has the most wonderful feel, and you wear this in the morning. And then they also have their night one, which I've been using forever. Also feels really, really nice, but wasn't wasn't something that I wanted to put on necessarily underneath my makeup. It probably would have been fine, but it wasn't quite right for that. Love it at night, but a little too moisturizing, I thought, for morning time. And now they have an eye cream, which I just ordered. I am still waiting for that to show up. Because I liked the serum, this is for daytime, so much, I went ahead and decided I gotta try their eye cream because they know what they're doing. And this is my morning routine. Okay, so right after red light therapy, everything is sort of plump, warm, juiced up. It's time to get a bunch of my skincare in there. This is really for morning use, and it's got peptides in it as well. And it's got the weaker form of estrogen so that it's not systemic. This is estriol 0.3%. That's kind of what's in everything. Any of the ones that are made for your face, it's always going to be about 0.3 estriol, not estradiol. Estradiol is the one that is strong enough to be systemic. The vaginal cream is 0.01 estradiol, which is a lot stronger than the estriol. Even this is not strong enough to go systemic. You have to have a stronger cream percentage of estradiol in the cream for it to go systemic. So you could use this on your face and get probably more effectiveness than these 0.3s. But this is a very thick cream, and it's really meant for down there, and it's meant to stay down there, so it's thick. It's not, I have tried putting this on my face. You don't want this on your face. When you put these things on your face, it does change the skin, just like it changes the skin down there, it does. It's subtle, it takes a while, but with regular use, you can keep that tissue acting like younger tissue that is healthy. So that's why I love putting these on my face, and it's worth the money for me. You could do this. It's actually stronger than this. It's just probably not going to like putting this on your face that much. Okay, so options. I'm going to show you what it looks like on my face. So 1 pump a day, and I use the cream at night because it is not quite as good underneath makeup. This is like, cosmetically, this is beautiful. All I do, 1 pump, kind of try to get it everywhere, including my neck, which is really my problem area these days. And look at how beautiful this is. It's like a primer. It's got a slightly silicone feel to it. It is so nice. So you could just do this every day because it's got the peptides in it. So you're getting everything that you need as far as the moisture that you would want in the morning. This really depends on how dry you are. Because I'm actively lowering my estradiol right now because I got too high and it was uncomfortable for me. Skin is getting a little bit dry again. So I'm going to show you the other things that I do add to my face. But if you are super oily, you could just do this. It would be fine. This and some sunscreen, you'd be good. But that's not what I'm doing. So what I am doing now is using a vitamin C serum of some sort. This one, I have used this for years. It's great. It's more of a gel. It is very affordable. The Olay Super Serum kind of has everything in it, and it is also really, really good. So I'm actually going to use that today because I've been a little extra dry. So I wouldn't mind a little extra peptides, which this has in it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. They have one of these that I think has sunscreen in it now, and I don't think that's how I want to get my sunscreen. So I'm going to do my sunscreen separately. Make sure and bring this down onto your neck. And then I also have always brought everything up under my eyes. A little bit of eye cream. So one of my favorite eye creams, CosRx Advanced Snail Peptide Eye Cream. So just a little bit of this goes a long way. I actually like a lot of other ones, but I find that they dry and pill underneath my eyes. And this one does not. This one is just ultra moisturizing, and it's not that expensive, and it goes really well. This is for when you're a little drier, which is what I am right now, with their moisturizer, which is also the Advanced Snail 92 all-in-one cream. I actually love this. This leaves such a nice feel on under makeup on your skin. As you can see it's kind of stringy. I did not like it when it wasn't in this, it was just in a little jar, I wouldn't use it that way because it was like, bleh, you know, it was gross. But when you have it in a little squeeze tube like this, I actually find that it is much more usable. So this leaves you a lot more plump. It actually sort of sinks in. It doesn't ball or pill. I find this works really, really well underneath makeup. And then I just really sort of work it in. I have some other companies that have approached me, and if they're willing to send me PR, I don't do sponsorships or anything like that because I feel like I might not be honest. But if they're willing to send me PR, I probably will be trying some new things that are, you know, more like the radio frequency and then some of the lifting, I forget what they are, the microcurrent devices. So I may be trying some of those, especially since I've noticed a lot more sagging since my ovaries were out, and I'm fighting it. I'm doing pretty good with, you know, considering how much I can tell it's trying to sag. But I think it's time to start adding some bigger guns. So those will be upcoming. For now, I'm not using any of those. So I'm getting current results with just what I'm showing you here. Okay, so that's in. I'm going to let that kind of sit for a minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of sunscreen on. At night, I use the M4 cream, and I also usually use a little bit of some sort of retinoid. I am still very sensitive in my skin, and so I really can't use a full retinoid, you know, like tretinoin, more than about twice a week. I love, again, from Alloy, they have my favorite tretinoin, and you can get it in the different strengths. Your doctor through Alloy will decide what's right for you. But I use like the lightest strength, I think the 0.025. It feels very much like the morning one, where it's got this almost silicone primery feel to it, just a little bit, like not like balling, pilling up kind of heavy on your face. No, it spreads and disappears and leaves you with this beautifully moisturized sort of matte face. I wish I could use it more if my skin could tolerate it, but I can't. I use their tretinoin at night, and then I use the M4 cream. Aside from that, I really just use whatever moisturizer I have on hand to sort of lock all of that in. So I've really pared down what I'm doing on my face. If I'm feeling like I'm getting texture, my favorite resurfacing cream is still the Good Genes. It is the perfect lactic acid resurfacing cream that is, it's a little spicy, but it's not too spicy. So if you have sensitive skin, you still get really good results from it, but it's not just killing you. You don't go to bed with a face just stinging like crazy. I can't handle that. So that's the only thing that I will also add in. So that's pretty much all the skincare that I do, and I am finding that it is making a huge difference. So it's kind of nice that I've been able to pare it down and get rid of some of the excess amount of skincare I was doing and still get the same results. Now, along with skincare, I have been a regular Botox user. I would like to use less Botox because I have noticed, unfortunately, so I would get 11s pretty heavy right here, but especially right here. I have like a pretty strong frowner right here. And I still have a little bit of Botox left, but not much. It's been months. See, everything is moving again. I kind of want to really minimize or maybe get rid of using the Botox from here on out. I don't like that this has fallen, and so when I do my makeup for you guys, I have like literally a sort of fallen side over here because my brow has fallen so much because I've been using Botox since I was 31. So that got me to look at alternative things. Skincare was not enough for me to keep away some of the static wrinkles, because every time my Botox would wear off after about 3 or 4 months, I immediately would start getting sort of heavy lines right here, frownies. And speaking of frownies, I was getting some laser therapy, and I talked to my esthetician about, like, I don't know, I kind of don't want to do so much Botox anymore. And she said, have you tried the patches on your forehead? And I was like, no, I didn't really think that those actually did anything. And she's like, no, they do. And so I went ahead and ordered a bunch of silicone patches off of Amazon. I did not have any good luck with those. They were very uncomfortable. They would slide off because I have all of my moisturizers and everything like that, so I'd find them on my pillow in the morning, and they just felt very heavy. I'm sure there are some good ones because she actually has a silicone one that she likes, but she doesn't know what brand it is. I'm sure there are ones that might work that are reusable. I could not find them, but I did see somebody talking about the good old Frownies, and I was like, well, let's give those a try. These are working for me. So far, I am noticing that as my Botox is totally like wearing off, I can move all this stuff. I'm noticing that I'm not getting the heavy frown lines here where everything else is moving, and I really usually would be. So what I do is they come in this, and they smell a little funny. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I don't enjoy the smell. You can get different shapes, but I knew I really just wanted right here. And I may try more. I may do the whole forehead if I'm finding that I'm starting to get static wrinkles here, but that's not really that's not where I get a lot of wrinkles. It's right here. So you peel these off, and you can kind of make whatever shape or size you want, but they have a shiny side and then have sort of like a matte side. So you peel off the size and shape that you want. It's going to go right here. And you wet this. Now, I will say one of the things that is sort of a trick that I learned, you got to wet it and let it go sit over there for like 5, maybe even 10 minutes, because you want it to get tacky. And then you stick it down and you treat it like a little cast. And you make sure it's really on there. And then you just go to bed with it. Whatever the glue is on it, that's the part that smells a little funny. So when they are still a little bit wet, that's when it smells a little funny, but it goes away. I found they're very comfortable to sleep in. I just peel it off in the morning, and so far it's working. So I'm kind of shocked because this whole box is going to last me quite a while, and I use it every night. I've only been using it for maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I notice a difference already. And the whole box is like $25. So if you are somebody who is wanting to get off of the Botox like me, this is a good transition. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some results online showing that if you already have deep furrows, this can really make a big difference. I'm not going to be able to test that because I haven't let myself get to that point yet. And I'm going to try not to, right? So I don't know how effective, but for $25 and maybe a month's worth of time, it might be worth it to try it to see if it really helps with any kind of deep furrows you might have that you don't like. I don't see, one of the things is like, I don't feel too bad about some like crow's feet or some lines up here. That doesn't really bother me. I don't like looking like I'm frowning all the time because I have these like furrows. I think I must do it in my sleep at night. I'm clenching my teeth, and I'm probably with my brow, and it doesn't look like how I feel, right? And so hopefully this will be maybe my way of getting off the Botox. So definitely worth a try. I'm shocked at how well these worked. Okay, now last time I gave you guys an update on sort of supplements and things that I was taking right after I went through the surgery. I was trying a lot of things, and I have discontinued a lot of those things because I did not find that they were helping me. Number one, I discontinued the creatine. I was very bloated. I actually have a good creatine brand that I tolerated really well, but because of the too much estrogen, I just overall, I gained a bunch of weight and I got really bloated, and I wasn't able to work out enough to make the creatine worth, the muscle gains that I might have gotten from it. And honestly, I got plenty of muscle gains just from the testosterone. So for me, the creatine was something that I sort of decided to shelve because I was already so swollen and bloated from the estradiol. And I did notice that when I got off of it, it did it was one stage of de-bloating for me. So I may try it again in the future if I feel like I am not making gains with my muscles, or if I feel like my mental health is not that good, or am having trouble concentrating, because it does have a lot of other health benefits that I would like to be able to get. But for me right now, I am in this phase where I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose only like maybe 6-7 pounds, but it is a stubborn 6-7 pounds, and it's just fat. I don't fit into any of my old clothes. I've had to get all new clothes. I'm uncomfortable. I want that fat off of me, but I want to diet and get rid of it in a healthy way. One of the things that I did end up taking that made a huge difference in my ability to work out was I finally found a collagen peptide, this momentous kind. This one made a huge difference almost immediately in how bad my joints were hurting, because I've been trying to exercise this whole time, and it has been something that has been stopping me, is that I would be so sore after like minimal workouts, really really bad, even with my testosterone levels up as high as they were. I just was having a lot of joint issues. My knees were hurting. My shoulders are hurting. You know, all the classic menopause issues because you have lower estrogen. Just from working out, that was stopping me from being able to work out. I see a physical therapist once a week anyway for my neck, and she was working on all those things, and it was just like one disaster after another. And I was like, ugh, what is going on? So I did two things. I switched to this, immediately noticed that the soreness started to go away. I just reordered this. This one's empty. And the reason that I chose this is because it was recommended by a Stanford doctor who specifically said that this is good for your muscle and joint pain and problems. I'm sure it helps with all, it's collagen, so it's going to help with, your skin and your hair and all that other stuff, but my connective tissues were the problem, and they were keeping me from being healthy and from working out effectively. I've been on Vital Protein's collagen peptides for years, the marine one with extra protein, years. It wasn't doing it. I'm sure it was making it a little better, but this was one of the best new finds that I've had. So if you are having those problems, I highly recommend you give this kind a try and see if it actually makes a difference for you like it did for me. It is like I will not be without this now. And in the past, all of my collagen supplements, I've been like, I don't know if they're working, but I take them anyway. Nope, this one I know it's working. Night and day difference. So highly recommend that. Other thing that I started up, which I had been doing before and it wasn't getting the help I needed, but one other thing that I did start doing is I started taking a glucosamine supplement. So I started all of that sort of at the same time because my knee was so bad, and I've never had knee problems, but my knees were hurting so bad. I was like, I wasn't able to do squats. I was having trouble sitting on the toilet and getting back up again. I mean, I was like, oh no, I'm going to end up in surgery. It was real bad. So I started taking the just standard glucosamine, chondroitin, a supplement, and I started the collagen, and within a week I was already like healing up, doing better, slowly able to lift the weights again and be able to do squats, and it has not returned since. So that's another thing that I would recommend if you're starting to have problems. I did that at the same time, and it seemed to really make a big difference as well. So I also highly recommend taking some sort of fish oil pill. I am still taking that. I do find that my joints start to get a little, ouch, if I'm not taking a fairly high level fish oil pill. So I do take that also. I stopped taking the NAD. I did not find that it was really doing anything. I think there's a lot of hype around it. It may be that you need to take it for longer. It was neither here nor there, and for the price, I decided to just drop that. So aside from that, I am just taking, vitamin C. I'm taking my calcium. I'm having another DEXA scan tomorrow, actually, so that we get a good idea of how, my bones are doing. My grandmother died with severe osteoporosis at only 61 because her spine collapsed from the osteoporosis because she ended up having a full hysterectomy when my dad was born back in her 20s. And they didn't give her anything to really supplement. And so she became osteoporotic really, like, very badly. So I don't want that to happen, especially now that I don't have my ovaries anymore. And so when I had my last DEXA scan, they told me right there, they said, it is important because the doctor who was running the scan, he said his wife is going through this and she thought that she was doing well and she wasn't. After menopause, it just goes downhill so fast if you're not trying to counteract it. So he suggested that not only do you take your calcium, you take it throughout the day. I get enough calcium from my diet. I drink a lot of milk and I eat yogurt and cheese and stuff like that in the early part of the day. So, and then I also take a multivitamin that has some calcium in it. So I get plenty of calcium in the front end of the day, but not really towards the end of the day. So I will take some of the little chewy gummies at the end of the day as sort of like a little dessert treat. We're going to see how my DEXA scan looks, compare it to the one from a couple years ago. So at any rate, calcium is one of those things that I definitely am on top of because I am postmenopausal now. So it's an important thing. Also, as far as your bones go, this is why I am trying to add weighted exercise. And so I need to be able to tolerate weighted exercise, which for me is like 8-10 pounds in each hand. I couldn't get over 5 pounds for the longest time ever since I added the collagen. Now I can. So I actually have been building up strength and muscle and the ability to hold more weight, which is going to be important for making sure that my bones stay strong. So that's definitely a big part of, my overall postmenopausal health. As to exercise, I am slowly being able to do 20 to 30 to 40 minutes of anything from Pilates and bar and yoga to sort of like weighted, not HIIT style, but, just sort of like fitness class style, where you do squats while holding weights. And I will take a day where I just do arms, 30 to 40 minutes of just lifting weights on my arms. And my arms are looking so much better. I was getting so turkey winged out. It was bad. So I am finding that I am finally having a lot of success with slowly building muscle now that my hormone levels are good and my joints are now getting what they need so that they can tolerate the increased weight load. I am also really making a concerted effort to watch how many steps I'm taking. I got so inactive and I became very unhealthy while I was not feeling well. I spent a lot of time sitting in my chair and editing and filming and doing anything to keep my mind busy while I was in pain. As my body just got more and more unhealthy, even though I wasn't eating terribly or anything like that, I just became more fat, less muscle, and my joints were hurting. Everything was hurting. That is a very unhealthy thing to be doing at only 50, to be starting to go downhill that quickly. So I needed to turn that around. And I think the best way to make sure that you are doing something that is going to be making changes to your body is to track it and to have some way of measuring it. So that's where I finally got an Oura ring. Now, I know some people don't like the Oura ring because they did have some sort of customer service issues. The first Oura ring that I ordered off of Amazon, and I was actually able to use my HSA money to buy it. It is insurance covered if you have an HSA account. I think it was like $350, something like that. I've had the same one for about 2 years now. I think it's either 2 years or a year and a half, something like that. I think it's about a year and a half. The first one that came in the mail, it wouldn't sync with my phone. It wouldn't charge properly. It was a dud. And so I called their customer service and they didn't give me any trouble. I know Taylor Wynn had trouble with Oura. He tried it a few years before I did, and their customer service was terrible. She had such a bad time with it that she will not go with Oura anymore. I know that. So what I can say is that a little further down the road, I think they've improved. The first one I did get was a dud, and they replaced it, no problem at all. They just sent me another one. I have now used this for a year and a half. I am very happy with it. It is really accurate. It tracks my sleep, it tracks my steps, it tracks my heart rate and my heart rate variance. It gives me a lot of extra information, including like it knows when I'm about to get really sick because it can see a spike in my temperature, and also my heart rate variance will go pretty low. There's a lot of indicators and things that after it gets to know you for a while can tell you, hey, something's off, you need to rest. And so far it has been really accurate at that. So I have to say it is really, really helpful for me going through this hormonal like roller coaster. I'm able to see my nighttime temperature will go spike up if my estradiol is too high, like the stuff that I'm taking is too high. I'll get these high spikes, and then I will know when I wake up and check that I need to lower. Like, don't put on another patch, don't put more cream on, like you need to let that flush out of your system. I definitely personally highly recommend this. I find that it doesn't matter which finger I wear it on, so I'm able to wash my hands within it, but I'm a little nervous to like soak it in water, so I will take it off or switch hands depending on if I'm putting stuff on my face or if I'm, working in the kitchen in the sink or something like that. I may take it off for that, but otherwise it's pretty accurate no matter which of my pointer fingers I put it on. Some people put it on their middle finger, on their thumbs. I think it's one of those things you just sort of try it out and see what works best for you. But this has been a really, really useful thing for me to be able to track how I'm sleeping and my steps. I'm really trying to get at least 8,000 steps a day. I should be getting probably more like 12,000 if I want to be my most healthy and be doing better, but still working up to that, especially with my foot having needed that surgery and didn't have that surgery and it's still healing, but I can walk a lot longer. So I've added a full 20-minute walk daily. After dinner, my husband and I, we walk around the block. It's 20 minutes of walking up and down hills. It's worth like 2,500 steps right there. So little things like that has really increased my health slowly, in a way that is something that I can tolerate when my body has been so reactive. It has really been in such a bad hormonal state that it hasn't been able to do things. So, highly recommend some sort of tracking device, but I really like the Oura Ring. Took me a little while to get used to having something on my finger all the time versus I always would wear like the Fitbit bands before, but I like it now, and I'm definitely sticking with it, and I find that it's very accurate. Now, to go with that, because I am trying to change my body, I'm trying to lose, probably 10 pounds maybe of fat, and I want to either replace it with muscle or keep the muscle that I currently have. I actually have quite a lot of muscle. I am eating a lot of protein. I am watching the amount of calories I eat so that I am in a little bit of a calorie deficit because I am trying to lose that weight slowly and safely. I am trying to eat more fiber, but it sort of horks my system up a bit, so I need to go really slow with that. But back to tracking. In order to see that I'm making muscle gains and fat loss, I really need a good, accurate scale that is going to give me body composition. So I actually have two scales. I just got a brand new Hume scale because supposedly it is the most accurate. It is a little bit on the expensive side, and I've had this other scale for the last year and a half, and it's actually supposedly been giving me the same information, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how accurate it was, and when I stood on it and I tested my body fat percentage on it, it told me I had like 29% body fat, and I was like, ooh, that's not super healthy. That's not great. We need to get that down because I'm used to being, when I'm not even trying, more like 24%. I was like, well, maybe the scale's not good. So then I got the Hume scale, and the Hume scale came and it said the exact same thing. Oh, okay, so I'm just fat. So I would say actually go with the original scale because it's cheaper and it works just as well, and their app works a lot better. The Hume app is problematic. I'm still playing with it, but I'm just not finding that it is any better or any more accurate, and it has a frustrating app that if you don't pay for the extra service on it, it will tell you that your health is really, really poor because it won't track your steps and your sleep from your other apps, even though it's supposed to. So I'm not the only one. I've seen a bunch of people online be like, oh, I can't recommend the Hume one. I just wasted my own money on it. What it did do for me is tell me that my original one was working just fine. So I would recommend getting one of these off of Amazon, and it really does help when you are trying to preserve or gain muscle. Your weight just is going to maybe stay the same for a while. It's going to be not enough information just to watch your weight. So it is helpful to have all of this other information. And I really like that. I don't know how accurate it is or not, but it tells you how much visceral fat you have. That's the dangerous fat. It tells you the weight of your skeletal muscle and also, your bones and your water weight and all those things that, so say your weight spikes by like a couple pounds and you're like, what happened? But you're super bloated. It's like, look, your water weight's like way up. So your percentage of fat won't change. But your weight will, right? So at any rate, highly recommend getting one of these scales if you are trying to get healthier, work out more, and do some body composition changing. Just stepping on a regular scale is going to potentially be a little bit misleading and frustrating. So. And finally, one of the most important things is sleep. And I actually was approached by Sleep and Glow. And they said, do you want to do a partnership? And I said, no, I don't do partnerships. But if you want to send me a sample, I will try it and I will give my honest review. Okay, so these are really expensive, and I thought, well, how can sort of a foam type pillow be worth such a high price? And yeah, then it showed up and I laid on it and I was like, oh, that's why. Oh, shoot. This is made so that your face can go like right here and it's not going to smoosh up your face and you're not going to, be getting those, sleep lines and stuff like that. However, I have a neck injury. I was in a hit and run and I was hit from behind. I got severe whiplash to the point where it like actually ripped one of these muscles off. And it took a long time to heal. On top of that, over time, my spine got so compressed, all of the discs in my spine have almost collapsed. They're pretty much collapsed. They're just not really there. So I am very bone on bone for years until I started going to PT, which I do weekly, and that has really fixed it. My muscles would tighten up and it would kind of crunch everything together, and that would cut off C6 right here. There's a nerve that goes down to your arm and hand. And so my hand was numb all the time because that was crunched. And then the aching and the pain that goes on right here, it causes everything to tighten up. I had a lot of pain constantly, and it took a long time to basically stretch that out and get off of those nerves so that everything, my whole system could settle down and stop aching like a toothache all day, all night here and in my arm and in my hand where I had lost a lot of feeling and my fingers were tingling all the time. So for me, I really can't tolerate pillows that do anything weird to my neck. The only way that I can sleep is on a very, very thin pillow that I sort of like ball up into the perfect situation for my neck. So when I started using this, I laid on my back and I fell asleep on my bed in the afternoon almost immediately. This thing, like if you're like a back sleeper, it just cradles you right to sleep. It is, you sink into it in such a perfect way that you just relax completely. It's not, there's just no discomfort. For me, when I tried to turn onto my side, I was able to actually sleep with it all night, and I didn't wake up with horrible pain, but this is not flexible enough to get in the exact position that I personally needed. So I was like so bummed, and I asked my daughter, who's 23, I said, "Do you want to give this a try?" And now I had to go steal this out of her room. It's hers now. She absolutely loves it. She also noticed, see, it comes with this zipper and this nice, like, so you can just wash this outside part and keep the inside part nice and clean. She noticed as soon as she switched to this pillow, not only was she sleeping great, and she loves this pillow now. That's her only pillow she sleeps on every night. She stopped having allergies in the morning. So her old pillow was getting, probably dust and dander and all that kind of stuff in it, and she was waking up a little allergy every morning. She said it went away immediately. So this managed to keep everything like really nice and clean for her, and it's been working really, really great. So, although this doesn't work for me because I have a specific neck issue and I am a side sleeper, if you are a normal sleeper and you are looking for something really comfortable, if you are a back sleeper, this thing, I have to say, honestly, it is so comfortable. It is not like other pillows. It is something special. So, if you had been curious about that, I did want to give my full, like, actual feedback. I can tell you that if I were my daughter, this is her favorite pillow in the world, and prying it out of her cold dead hands. So, for some people, this is an absolutely perfect pillow and absolutely worth the money. So sleep is so important at this time of life, and it really, like, that horrible sleep, waking up sweaty and peeing all night and all the things that disrupt your sleep. If you can get yourself as comfortable as possible after you've managed everything else, that sleep is just going to make such a big difference in your skin and how you feel the next day, and whether you have enough energy to work out, mood, everything. Sleep is kind of where everything starts. Sleep, diet, just basically taking care of the physical part of you will make the mental part of you so much more resilient and feel so much better. Couldn't skip mentioning this as well. Okay, so that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I know I'm forgetting something because when I do these videos, I just talk to you guys and then I edit out my rambling. So I'm terrible about, trying to write a script or anything. I don't do that. So I like it to be more like just you and me. We're sitting down and we're having a chat, and I'm just gonna tell you, like I would my friends, because you're my friends, what's going on and what I'm doing, and just have a little chat. And I know it seems like maybe a lot of things to do, but this is all stuff that I actually find is working for me, and honestly, I've gotten rid of a lot of things, to be honest. So, I actually feel like this is more pared down than what I used to do. I'm really hopeful that I will continue to feel better and look better and be able to maintain this healthy lifestyle and just kind of like really enjoy the second half of my life instead of it being just kind of a slow decline or accelerated decline as it was after the surgery. It is a work in progress, but I do like to share and let you guys know things that I have found through trial and error and a lot of pain on my part. Honestly, what's working and what's not, so that maybe you can not have to go through some of those things if you're having some of the same problems, because we're all getting older and we're all going to be going through menopause at some time or another if you're not already through it. And just talking about these things, we can really help each other a lot, because there's all kinds of things that the doctors just sort of miss or don't talk about or don't deal with. And I found that by talking to other people who are actually going through it and really needing solutions to their problems, you start finding things that you can try that may work for you. Okay, so overall, just hope that this is really helpful. And let me know if you have any questions or if you have anything to add below that you find that is working for you, and that you've had struggles with that I haven't mentioned. So absolutely share below. It's a great place for us all to share insights and helpful things that might be helpful to others. Okay, If you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of content, I sure would appreciate a like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel to grow, and I really appreciate having you guys here. Okay, that is it. Another long one, but I've been sort of thinking about this and putting it together and doing all of the skin testing and HRT testing, and I've been wanting to share this information for a while, so here you go. Okay, I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.